Do you believe in miracles? We got Fizzle in the house. Fizzle, what's good, man? Fizzle, glad to have you here.
Let's go. This the South Harmon Podcast. Glad you here today. Hit that Patreon link if you here to stay. Dynasty best ball, that's my favorite way. 40 chess trade show. Let's make a trade today or check a AMA. You know Adam at the ATM. Mike always in the building. He gon' stay with him. They gon' start every show off with their own trade. Fantasy's a big ocean. They made their own wave. Make sure you tapping in Tuesdays and Saturdays. Tuesday night, Saturday morning, ain't no better way. Hit that notification bell when the news break. Go subscribe right now, don't get the news late. Destination Devy, that's the team. Dynasty Football, man, that's my favorite thing. I remember Biggie said it was all a dream. Now people watching on their phones and computer screens. Welcome to the team. Let's start the show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back into another edition of the Dynasty Trade Show. And if you're watching this one, this is the first ever 2-for-1, right? We doing a second trade show this week, so thank you for tapping in. Hopefully you hit the first one. If not, go back and watch that one too. There's not a lot of crossover. It's just Dynasty trades, but we got so many to talk about. We got to split this thing up into multiple shows. Hope everybody's doing well. And Adam, man, kind of like Jimmy Butler in the bubble playoffs, right? Just trade after trade after trade. We're going to carry this thing. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like, leaned over the table, but we got to win. We have to win, and you guys have to win. Everybody tapping into this needs to know what they're doing with their Dynasty team. Speaking of which, if you're watching this, new to the channel, and you're like, man, I would like to see what they have to say about our trades, patreon.com/South Harmon. $1 a month gets you in the door. Go post your trade in the Shithead Trades channel. You'll have a very good chance to get on the show, where we have, at this point, we got to do a second show just to have a chance to get to 30-50% of the trades that go in there. So we're doing that now. You're seeing this on Wednesday. We're going to continue to do this premiere twice a week to make sure you have even more Dynasty trades coming your way. But Mike, you know what we do? Fizzle already said it when you watched earlier. We start off with one of our own. This time, we start off with McNutted, which I will say this, Mike. You're becoming the controversial. Let me just do this to see what the trade show's doing. It's like what he was doing in Twitter last year. So we're going to get to it. Let's see what Mike did. Will Levis, man. Mike, Will Levis. Let's talk about this, man. 12-team Superflex lineup. We're starting 13. This is pushing some of the deeper starting lineups you're going to see in a lineup league, right? You're acquiring Will Levis in the 304 from Stanton 21. You are sending away the 202 and the 210. So, when you look at the meat of this deal, you can forget Will Levis just for a second. You're talking about going from the 202 up to the 201, one spot. And then you're going to trade back from 210 to the 304. So, on paper, that is a go get your guy move. And I know based on the fact that it's Will Levis, that's what you're doing. The 202 ended up being Michael Mayer. This isn't on here. This is a tight end premium league, but probably nothing crazy, right? A half point tight end premium. Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
That's it. Start one, whole works.
Okay. So you're basically going from Mayer to Will Levis, and 210 to 304 at this point, it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's negligible. It's not zero, but at 210, I'm already starting to feel what am I really shooting on? You know what I mean? I'm picking a guy that it's very spotty, either draft capital or profile at this point. So the difference from 210 to 304 versus the difference in Michael Mayer to Will Levis, Mike, I'll let you talk about it. What do you think?
Well, we are the guy who's picking at 210 is on the clock, hasn't made the pick yet. But I can let you know the players that are left.
Can we get the 210? Okay, go ahead. What are the players left?
Hendon Hooker, Tajay Spears, Tank Bigsby, Roshan, Jalen Hyatt, Luke Musgrave, Cedric Tillman, Chase Brown, Abanikanda, Keyshawn Butte. By sleepers ADP. Those are the next guys.
I know you mispronounced or missaid it. Tank Bigsby's on the board?
Yep. Sure is.
I've been trying to figure out this. This one has really troubled me, Mike, actually. This is not trade analysis, and I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Like, the Charbonnet-Kenneth Walker thing is such a debate.
Right.
Why are people dismissing completely Tank Bigsby from Travis Etienne?
No idea.
They still invested I got news for everybody watching. If they invest a day 2 pick into a running back, you should pay attention. You should pay attention. And if you're not paying attention to Tank Bigsby and you think, oh, well, Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence loves him, first round pick. Why are they taking not just any guy in round 3? Like, they didn't take Deuce Vaughn. They took Tank Bigsby, a guy that is very much relevant in all 3 downs. So I feel like Tank Bigsby is being very much dismissed, which is not a part of the trade. But it could be, though, because he's on the board here. Like if Tank's at 210 all of a sudden, Mike, would you feel differently about the trade?
No.
Okay.
Once Will Levis made it past the 110, like, I was actively trying to trade up to get another quarterback.
Fair enough.
Like, that's where it was. Just so happened the guy, like at 201, I sent him a trade offer. He had some slow internet. He didn't see it. He went ahead and picked Will Levis.
And you were like, well, just keep it going because that's what I was going to do anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I just saw that. Would you still do that trade now?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it. I'll swap one spot to get my guy."
You should have hesitated. Wasn't what I was going to do, but I'll still do it if you give me a throw in. No, I'm just playing.
I needed
that was a good win.
I needed another quarterback on this team. I was sitting with Trevor Lawrence and Kenny Pickett, and I took Anthony Richardson at the 103. So
hold on. Wait, real quick. You had T-Law, A-Rich, and Kenny Pickett.
Right.
Let me ask you this then. With those 3 in a lineup league, I would say this. I know exactly what you're doing, and I like it. But I also think there's a lot of people watching that are like, did you need a quarterback 4 in a lineup league?
Didn't. Probably not. Probably don't need one.
Right.
But I never draft on need, ever.
No, well, that's a totally different conversation, which you and I talk about, which is somebody else needs a quarterback 3, which could be Will Levis or Kenny Pickett. And I know that's what you're doing, which is why I'm asking the question, did you need a quarterback 4? Because I know you didn't need one. Let me ask you this then. If you didn't need a quarterback 4, do you think in this league you can trade Will Levis at some point or Kenny Pickett, right, for much more than, let's call it what it is, Michael Mayer and Tank Bigsby?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
You can get more out of them. Yeah,
and I'm not saying you can't.
Even if it's
I'm not saying you can't. By the way, I'm walking through the process for everybody.
Even if it's not, like, let's just say Will Levis is serviceable starting quarterback at some point. Right?
Sure. Right. Yep.
Kenny Pickett keeps kind of just doing what he is for the next year. The fact that you have multiple quarterbacks on your roster, this is why I like the process of it, is because now I'm also open to trading a Trevor Lawrence or an Anthony Richardson. And Adam, I don't need your junk quarterback back. And when I don't need or I get a junk quarterback back in the deal, I can get ridiculous prices. You can tax all you want. And that's what I like, that flexibility on my rosters. Do I need a QB4? Hell no. Nah. On a lot of teams, if you got 2 studs, do you need a QB3? Not really. In a Superflex league,
it's only for insurance at that point, right? The QB3 is for insurance. The QB4 is not for anything other than probably trading and hoarding.
Right. The flexibility of, being able to trade an elite or a quarterback away without having to get one back is what I'm really after here. Plus the whole QB hoard thing, right?
Yep.
If I didn't take him, like Will Levis, for example, if this trade doesn't go through, do
you take Mayer? Do you take Mayer at 202, or is it someone different?
I'd take A-Chain. Would probably be my next pick. A-Chain.
Fair enough. I'm with you.
Sharbs and Kendra Miller were already off the board. They went 11 and 12, so A-Chain would have been the pick for me.
So what does this look like for everyone watching? A-Chain at 202.
A-Chain won at 2-2.
Right, but you'll take A-Chain, right?
I'll take A-Chain, yes.
And then at 210, you're taking Bigsby here, right?
Yes. If I stuck bat.
So, okay.
Or Tajay Spears. I like to diversify my portfolio.
I like Spears too. But let's just say for the sake of argument, A-Chain and not Spears, Bigsby,
right,
versus Levis and so 304 is 6 picks away. So like, what's the worst case for you? So like, Musgrave you said was available, right?
Musgrave, Cedric Tillman, Chase Brown would kind of be those next guys. Worst case scenario.
Let's use Chase Brown.
Go really bad.
Yeah, let's go worse because I mean there's 6 picks away. So let's say Chase Brown. Chase Brown and Will Levis versus A-Chain and Bigsby. What do you want?
Will Levis, and I want the quarterback.
Interesting.
Take
Interesting. Yeah, I will say this. I know what you're doing, and I know that Mike is going to make it work. I'll say this because I know how Mike plays. I'm in every league that he's in outside of the ones he won't invite me to because he wants to win them. But I'm in like 20-something leagues with him. So I know how he trades, how he thinks, what his values are. I mean, I knew what he thought before we started a podcast. That's why we did one. But the whole point is, like, I know Mike is going to make this Will Levis thing work for him unless Will Levis is so bad that he's like Rosen and he just loses value from the beginning. He can't do anything.
Right.
For all of you watching, though, if you don't have the process that Mike does, which is, like, if you don't feel confident enough holding 4 quarterbacks and making the other people feel it, like, if you're going to be the one to cave, you shouldn't do this. That I think that's actually the biggest way that I can distinguish this trade from what you should do with your teams. Now, if you feel like I'll lean into this quarterback horde and you're going to have to feel what I charge, the prices are, this is a very fine trade because, like, Tank and A-Chain, I like them both, but there's a scenario 6-8 weeks in that nobody has any idea that they're very valuable, right? And in this format, even in Start 13, which is different, no guarantee there. But if you're going to just trade Will Levis light later, this is a terrible trade for you, right? Because Bigsby and A-Chain could also both be very relevant. So I think the biggest thing is like understanding your league and understanding how you are as a manager as far as trading. Because on paper, for most people, I think this is tough. But I know that Mike is going to lean into the quarterback horde and make it work for him.
We talk about knowing your league too, right? Just knowing your league. And one of the things that I find interesting too is the risk that some people are willing to go and how they construct their roster just based on their rigid values. Like the guy who picked at the 101 also had the 11 and the 12. And that's why Will Levis fell to the second round. And this guy has Kyler Murray and Mac Jones on his team as his quarterback position, and he's out here taking Bijan, Charbonnet, Kendre Miller, right? Heavily invested in running backs.
Mac is his only quarterback too, bro?
Yep.
Really?
Passing on quarterbacks. So it's like you're playing a dangerous game there. Like, it's also setting up for the leverage thing. Like, whether you like Will Levis or not, if he's passing on him, who's one of the only teams in the league that has the flexibility to move on from quarterbacks? This guy. And you're building your team out on running back positions without the security at quarterback.
Do you think his team would have been beneficial to take A-Rich at 101?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And this is okay. So everybody here again watching, and you're like, Adam, you're crazy. A-Rich, he's this could fail quarterback. Like these are the type of teams that make me stress the Anthony Richardson thing. Like, Mike, you can attest that I've taken Bijan at 101 before. It's not saying that, like, I hate Bijan Robinson, the running back, but if your team can't really afford to roster him, like in this scenario, what are you doing at 101? And then you took these late first, hoping there'd be something different, but they're not, and you're passing on the quarterback still. When you're taking a third running back with Mac Jones as your quarterback too. My goodness, man. Here's what you know what? We're going to go to the next trade. I need to find these leagues that Mike gets in that he doesn't invite me to because I'm never invited to this. Like, how? Why would you do that? Makes no sense.
To be fair, this league has been around longer than you and I have known each other. So
how many new teams are in it? How many orphans are we talking about?
We've had a few. How
many mainstays? Can I ask?
Let's see.
What, 6, 8, 10?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guys are original.
Okay.
So 5.
That makes sense. 5. Well, but that's over 5 years, right?
Right. It's over a while. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's about how it goes. Well, this is, I think for everybody watching that's not in the league, a risky deal to get Levis. But if you know the league and you know that you can get over on fish like at 101, get that extra quarterback. So hopefully that process makes sense for you. If it doesn't, tell us in the comments. Speaking of that, Brandon Aiyuk, Mike.
For the 112.
This is post NFL draft, by the way.
What?
12-team Superflex PPR lineup start 10. Can I tell you what I hope? CJCSR watched our trade show and didn't understand that, like, when we talked about getting off of receivers that we like for picks, it was more about leverage.
Yes.
Than necessarily, like, I think 110 player for player versus George Pickens is a win. Because especially post NFL draft, like seeing all the running backs that we thought were going to be good that didn't go high.
Yes.
Seeing that, we had 4 wide receivers there going round 1, but then Mims barely was in round 2. Some of these guys that we liked, Josh Downs was already way undersized, goes in round 3. It's like, man, 112 was not what we hoped, right?
Yes.
And we love Brandon Aiyuk. And I don't know, man. There's no way. There's no way I'm sending my Brandon Aiyuk for 112 after the NFL draft ever.
No. Ever. No.
Not even close, bro.
Would you do this if this was a true tear down? You know what I mean? Like in the sense of it?
Can we, for everybody watching, let's give me the sense of a true tear down, because at this point, like, I need to know what that means at 112, because at 112 we're talking A-chain guys that are going in the second a lot of times.
Let's go to like some grosser wide receivers. Brandon Aiyuk kind of falls in that range where there's a pretty big tier of wide receivers that we like. Like as you go down the list, the tiers get much bigger. But let's go to some grosser tiers, but guys that are still relevant. Like how about 112 and Tyler Lockett for your Brandon Aiyuk?
Lineup start 10, no. Best ball, yes.
I mean, best balls, there's going to be a lot of smashes. Trying to find the breaking point in lineup where you feel comfortable. Like what if you're a contender, 112 and like Keenan Allen?
Yeah, I would do that. I'll do that. I'll tell you why. Keenan Allen is value depressed because of age.
He's old.
And I feel like points per game wise, right? I could replace Aiyuk with Keenan Allen if it hits right. But I also know if he gets hurt or something bad happens, I get more like this. 112 for Brandon Aiyuk, and I can live with that because it's not like crushing my team. But straight up, no way, right? Like that's the whole point. Like what you're getting at 112 to pass him in dynasty value, maybe. But production-wise, like full PPR, that may never happen ever.
Well, 1 for 1, there's no way I would, because at best you're kind of just hoping whatever the 112 comes close to like what Brandon Aiyuk scores in the range. He's going to have some better years. He's going to have some down years. But that's kind of similar production, what you're hoping that pick becomes. Now, can you be smart? And, Scott jokes about this all the time, and we hear it all the time too. It's like everybody in the past has always – whoever picked at 111 has gotten Justin Herbert every single year, and Justin Jefferson the year before that.
They always
hit him.
Right.
They always hit him, but there's a lot of turds back there too. I mean, a lot of times the 112 was Jalen Reagor or Keyshawn Vaughn or Trey Sermon, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of landmines. So the range of outcomes is pretty massive. But just with a median, you're kind of hoping you get a Brandon Aiyuk level producer. You'd be very happy with it. That's why if there's no leverage on it, there's no way in hell I would do it. But you give me some sort of leverage on it, I can see it, right? You give me a Juju, Smith-Schuster,
112. Let's talk lineup for a second. Lineup start 10. Give me the pluses to 112 that you'll take the other side. Juju said.
That I'd be doing. Jacoby Myers is one that kind of falls in that range for me. Like, I'm okay with him. I know it's dirty, but if I'm getting
I love Myers, but I'm not doing that lineup.
All right.
But in best ball, it's not even close. I would take the other side.
Mike Evans?
I consider that one, yep. That's like a Lockett range type thing, right? Like I'd take the other side. Right. Keenan Allen. Like basically playing up the two pieces in age deficiency thing. Like the value are down because of age there. Like
Brandon Cooks?
Yeah. That one's really tough though because people are so out on him. But I believe him going to Dallas with Dak makes it worth it.
But that's kind of the point. Like you're just trying to get a piece that you think could come close to scoring what Brandon Aiyuk does. Or maybe even matching, but just maybe give you 80% of Brandon Aiyuk.
It gives you a shot for 80% or more, right?
And you get the other shot on the draft pick on whoever that became, whoever.
And you could also trade that away for something different too, right?
Yes.
You also
That's
could
the play I make even in a lineup start 10, or if this was a start 9, it'd be the same thing. Because I don't think Brandon Aiyuk, like we like him, but lineup start 9 or 10, it's not like we look at him and go like this is a foundational piece.
No. Lineup start 10 though, I view him as a plus flex player.
Yeah,
right.
Good option.
So.
He's going to be my wide receiver 2 or 3, and I'm fine with it. Or he's going to be in my flex, and I'm really fine with it.
And see, I'll tell you the problem for me with trading him away. Now, if I get the right value back, I'll do it. The problem is for me, nobody values him like you and I do.
Right.
So my plus for 112 looks like this, which is nothing. And y'all get – you can keep that 112 because I'm taking Brandon Aiyuk because I think he's at least – wide receiver 3 worthy, which is a flex spot. And in full PPR, I like that. So
what is the draft pick you need 1-for-1 where you would do it on the other side? In this setting,
you want honesty?
Lineup start 10.
You want honesty? 107.
It's going to be, I was going to say, it's going to be the 6 or the 7, ain't it?
107 is the max I would take the other way. 108, like I'm out. 108, I'm out.
QJ or Brandon Aiyuk right now?
Aiyuk.
It's the same tier stuff, right? JSN or Aiyuk, then you have the
I'll take JSN. I'll take JSN there because I know JSN for 3 to 4 months trades for way more.
Right.
Now, if I know my league, maybe QJ or Addison trades for more, and I'll take 107 or 108 there, right?
Yep.
But like if I don't know my league and I go into this season and I want points, I want Brandon Aiyuk. So JSN's the one like guaranteed. Like give me JSN by a mile. Because I know I can trade him. The other ones I'm not as sure I can trade them. Just in
1-for-1 anything after that, like give me Brandon Aiyuk. I'm good.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. So anyway, Dynasty Alex, all that to say good job. All right, we had this on the AMA show, Mike. So this is a 10-team Superflex PPR lineup start 10. M Cup is receiving Jonathan Taylor, the 108, and a 24-second from Blainer 21. Blainer 21 is receiving the 102 and Claypool. So we walked through this in the AMA, but we need to do this on the trade show. Like 10-team is different than you and I playing normally. So
yes,
we can confirm that 102 was used on a quarterback, A-Rich. Claypool in this format is absolutely zero. Like 12-team lineup start 10.
Yep.
I probably don't want him. 10-team, I know I don't. So it's A-Rich for JT 108, which is probably like we already talked about it. It's either Addison, QJ, Zay Flowers, whoever you want, and you're betting against this team. 10-team, I actually want the JT side. I'll say this in 12-team though, I want the 102.
I agree with that. 10-team makes it because Jonathan Taylor and like A-Rich right now, people probably favor A-Rich just a little bit more.
Yep.
In a 10-team league, though, that becomes
I'm in.
Very, very close. Like I would almost venture to say in a 10-team league, like A-Rich still has what we talked about in the AMA. He still has that elite ceiling where he can be a difference maker. But in 10-team, like all them quarterbacks get pushed down just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you got to be Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Like you have to be elite to make a huge difference. Yes,
Hurts, like if you actually mean in points your value in Dynasty, totally different thing in 10-team.
Because a lot of the scarcity comes out of it too, that insulates a lot of the quarterback value. So
100%. That's why A. Rich is so risky in this format. Like, if he hits, take the top off. A. Rich ruins a league, right? But if he doesn't, like, holy crap! Imagine losing JT in a 10-team lineup, start 10. You're gonna hate yourself, right?
You just traded away. You just traded away one of the only running backs that's like a true difference maker as well. Right.
And you nuked his value.
Right. I know relative to historical averages, like JT is one of the worst like RB1s. Okay. Like Scott has gone over that multiple times. But then you look at the guys who are starting Jonathan Taylor as their anchor, their hero RB, if he's putting up 20 points a game versus some guy that's trying to rotate in. Hopefully Rachaad White gets me 10 points this week. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's the point.
That positional advantage comes into play, and then you just throw on Jordan Addison in the second on top of it. That's why I say in a 10-team league, JT and A. Rich, I almost favor Jonathan Taylor just straight up right now how it goes.
10-team, I do too.
You give me the extra, and I'll toss you back as a roster clogger, a bum, somebody that is not like cuttable, right? Because you drop him on the waiver wire, somebody will pick him up and spend money on it, but he ain't ever really making your lineup ever. So,
but I mean, JT, like, okay, like if you want to compare historically, fine, but show me the running backs that he was the running back 1 in 21.
Show me the list of running backs that can score 20 points per game, and it's a very, very short list.
Go to the last 5 years and say, who's made a difference at running back? And Jonathan Taylor will be the person that means one of the most. Not saying he's the most. I don't actually know that. But he's absolutely in the conversation. And going into this year with A. Rich there, with a good offensive line, you mean to tell me Jonathan Taylor can't beat 1,800 yards like he did with almost 20 touchdowns? Okay, you bet against that. I'll take JT, and here's your rookie quarterback that may not play week 1. So 10-team, I'll take that 100% of the time.
And then on top of that, right, you get the rookie quarterback who may not play week 1. Let me get your second too, just so when you are bad.
Just so if you really F this up, right, if you really, really fuck this up, like let me get that, and you can have Claypool too. So anyway, 12-team Superflex lineup, start 10. Mike, curious your thoughts here. Tajay Spears, John Metchie.
I'm gonna get attacked again for not liking
John
Metchie.
Excited. I'm so excited to bring this deal on. But when I saw this in the trade show channel, I was like, you know what? This makes the trade show one of the 2 days, because we got 2 days now.
Right.
This is basically like football back in the day. For those of you who didn't play, we got 2 days. We got 2 days. Tajay Spears or John Metchie. Lineup start 10. Come on, man. This isn't close to me.
Not at all. John Metchie.
No way, right? Like, not even really close.
He's nothing in a start 10. I mean, you can do the whole song and dance and happy body thing about it, but there's a lot of things working against him. Is it a nice story? Yeah. Like, I wish him all the best in health. Like, I root for the guy. But it's Houston. He's just kind of a dude. He wasn't that great of a prospect coming in. Like, we can stop.
He was okay. He was above average.
Okay.
But he was also kind of beneficiary of Alabama and stuff. Like, we were a little dicey on his profile to begin with. Now, I wanted him still, but now it's like, okay, he's coming off Hodgkin's lymphoma. I understand the cancer thing. My dad's had it for a long time. I am rooting for Metchie as a player.
Yes.
But in Dynasty, I'm not willing to bet on this. And then we get to settings, and it's 12-team Superflex lineup, start 10. So in this format, you're probably looking at either quarterback, 2 running backs, and 3 receivers, or 2 receivers and 3 flex. Either way, your odds of starting John Metchie in this format, pressing the button, are not good. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's really bad. Like, really low. And if you do start John Metchie, he beat the odds by millions, or your team blows, period.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Is that fair? Am I being too harsh? Like, I don't know.
You're being honest, and we're talking about one that, Tajay Spears is written on here. So a running back, you're betting on the running back. Or it could be like we talked earlier, could be Tank Bigsby hanging out there or Roshan Johnson hanging out there.
Right.
You can make the bet on the running back and feel much better about the chances of them being in your lineup because the running back's a crappier position. But Adam, even if I say all them running backs are gone, you're looking at a guy with a profile like Jaden Reed. You're looking at a guy like a profile with like Rashee Rice with draft capital.
But think about it this way, though.
Even if you get real gross,
go ahead.
even if you get real gross, Josh Downs or John Metchie right now. Like in this setting, if you had to pick one, you're forced to pick one.
I'll take Downs because of a year reset, but they're probably the same thing.
Probably the same thing, but
I get a year reset.
Has a little hype. Yes.
Right. Now, let me just say this part too for people that are, if you want to fight me, I hope you don't, but if you do, go ahead. Put in the comments. Tell us. We actually want to hear it. Lineup start 10, right? What I know about this is what I'm going to first do is put Tajay Spears on my taxi because you guys are screaming somewhere. Derrick Henry. Fine. Tajay Spears will go on my taxi for a year. If you play in leagues like almost every normal league, John Metchie can't stay in your taxi when the year starts. First and foremost, you use an actual roster spot on John Metchie. Before we even get to the fact that Tajay Spears doesn't acquire one, right? Then at any point during the season, if Henry's traded, if he finally cliffs and gets hurt, Tajay Spears can come out of the taxi spot. John Metchie has been sitting in your real roster and has never left there because he will not all year.
Right.
And guess what else? Even if at the end of this whole thing, neither one of them come out of the taxi or the regular bench spots, guess what's probably most likely to happen? Derrick Henry finally moves on from Tennessee, or John Metchie is a top 25 wide receiver in Dynasty.
Right.
There is no win for the Metchie side other than a unbelievable, heroic story of John Metchie hitting levels that you don't want to bet on, in my opinion.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
anyway.
Good. Hard pass.
Yeah.
Give me the 211.
Tell me I'm harsh, but here I am. All right, Roxbox, 12-team Superflex, half PPR, half-point tight end premium. We're starting 10. Mark Andrews again, man. So Mark Andrews in the 25-second, 109. Let's talk Zay Flowers again. George Pickens in the 24-second from Nico Janison.
Both of these receivers, say it's Zay Flowers and George Pickens and the second. Like, give me the tight end, man. Give me the tight end. Give me Mandrews. That's the one that you're going to plug in every single week. That is the one you're plugging in every single week. And then just because he's like, yeah, I'm going to need a 25-second back too because reasons.
Can I tell you what
didn't even need it.
Can I tell you the reasons that now I know Roxbox, Savage team member, by the way, shout out to him. Now I know he's playing the game, right? So what happened here? This 24-second that wasn't his that he acquired from this guy, he sent it back like, here you go. Like, you got some work to do. Like, take this. Now I got next year to do it again.
We'll just go back.
Here, we'll play the game next year again. We'll go back to the drawing board of like, you're going to need something. I'll throw you some youth pieces again, and I'll take your Mark Andrews. My goodness, get me off of this trade. Mike, do you have any further analysis? I'm actually like looking at this like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy.
In a best ball league, like say start 13, would you be interested at all in the 3 for?
Yeah, if I really need a tight end, but it's premium. Like I gotta be loaded to pay that, but I would do it if I needed to. Like if you're telling me I've already built my team appropriately, and I'll lose like Pickens, Flowers, and a second swap a year ahead, I'll do it for Andrews. But I also better have a team that's already like built right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm probably still leaning into it just because of the warp advantage, but it would depend on my depth.
Correct. We agree. So like if you build it right, I'll take Andrews here, right? The the thing in best ball I think that gets people in trouble is they're like, oh, I want Andrews here. Well, what is your team like?
Right.
If you just take Andrews here because it makes sense in value, okay. So you're rolling out, John Metchie from the last trade as wide receiver 2 in best ball. I'll see you in the we'll see you in the conference semis in the consolation bracket. So,
right.
It's kind of about depth there before I can make a trade like this. If that makes sense.
Getcha. Right. Lineup makes this pretty easy.
Lineup is stupid. This is crazy, man. And the fact that he already leveraged that 20. I know exactly what's happening here. He leveraged that 24-second against him, and how he can do it again next year. That is. You don't even have a heart, Roxbox. Like, where is your heart? Damn it! That's savage. All right, Mike. Kenneth Walker. We talked about him last week on the trade show with B. 12-team Superflex lineup, start 10. A lot of lineup leagues lately. Kenneth Walker versus Danny Dimes. Where is the pivot point for you with Kenneth Walker and that hate? Because I know you hate Danny Dimes too.
I could go on both sides of this one, to be honest. This is a really tough one. Like, I think Kenneth Walker's fallen down too much, and I'm not buying into all the Daniel Jones hype. He's a starting quarterback, and he's like somewhere around QB 15, 16.
Do you buy into the contract at all, though?
I mean, it's nice. It's nice, but what did they do really to like support it this year?
They franchised Saquon.
Yeah, they brought in Darren Waller, so that was nice. But then you look at the wide receivers.
Number analysis. Number 12? Come on, man. Come on.
And then they just they surround him with a ton of slot receivers. So awesome.
Metchie. No, basically, but Wandell. But sorry.
Basically. It's just, I don't know. He's okay. Like, you want him in Superflex leagues because he's a quarterback and he matters. But and he's in the range where he's usable. I think it's just your opinion on Kenneth Walker. Do you think he's fallen this far where it's like now we're kind of into the guys? I don't want Daniel Jones as my QB1. I don't.
No, but I think Daniel Jones is even in a lineup start 10, I think he's a sneaky good quarterback too. And if he's my quarterback 3, I'm elated.
You're over the moon. Yes.
So I think that's a big thing too. Like, I'm with you. If you're telling me Daniel Jones is your quarterback 1 in this format, like, you're done. I'm sorry. Unless you get lucky on Geno or Goff or something like that, you're done. Now, if he's your quarterback 2, okay, fine. Now, if you traded Kenneth Walker away, Mike, let me just ask you this, and Danny Dimes becomes your quarterback 2, how do you feel about this?
It's still fine. I'm
not saying it's like a smash, like you crushed the value, but you solidified a quarterback too. That's big in lineup start 10, right?
I think we can talk that Daniel Jones is a safer play here, but probably doesn't carry the same upside. You know what I mean? Like, there's a scenario
I'd agree there. I'd agree.
Kenneth Walker absolutely gets nuked, right? It ends up being a 60-40 split, and Sharps is the one with the 60.
Listen, I'm not ready to hear that. All right, I have a lot of Kenneth Walker.
There's a scenario where that happens, right?
I know it is. I know.
But there's also a scenario where Sharps really just doesn't do anything, and it's like the Kenneth Walker show again, kind of like it was last year.
Yep.
And in that case, for 1 year, running back's such a barren wasteland. Like, Kenneth Walker will outsmash whatever Daniel Jones was going to do as your QB2. At least in warp advantage, at least in the ability to have leverage over your league mates for 1 or 2 possible years.
Right.
Because it's just another okay quarterback. Like, it's not a difference making guy, but he's fine.
Right.
I would say the less risky option though is always going to be Daniel Jones, where it's just, hey, for the next couple of years, this guy's going to be a quarterback. People kind of like him. They don't hate him anyways. He's just a dude. He's not a difference maker, but it's quarterback position. I got one that's a starter, and I got one that's a locked-in starter. So that is the less risky option. Yep. That's why I say it's a pretty even trade. I'd have to know how the teams are constructed to look at it to like really give you a definitive which side would I want. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of scenarios. So just in a vacuum looking at it, I would say if I had to lean one, I'm going to go Daniel Jones just because of the risk.
Yep.
Less risk. But, man, it's crazy to think that Kenneth Walker has fallen this far. If this Sharps thing doesn't happen, I'm looking at this going, man, I'll take the Kenneth Walker side easily.
Now I'm going to tell you what's funny, though, right? And you talk about Kenneth Walker, and I'm with you. But if you go back a year ago when Kenneth Walker was 102, 103, right? People hated some Kenneth Walker.
Right.
But you know who they really hated?
Daniel
Jones. So even a year ago, Kenneth Walker maybe wins this. What's funny, though, is a full year from now when Kenneth Walker actually proved all the naysayers wrong. Right? Think about that for a second. Kenneth Walker was, I know everyone will say I'm crazy because nobody wants to use, recent history. They all want to think about recency bias, but there was actually people that told you that Chris Carson was going to be healthy and Rashad Penny was the workhorse. And like Kenneth Walker won't do anything in his rookie season.
Right.
He did. Not only did he was the feature back for 10 plus weeks. And now to think that Daniel Jones surpassed him, got a contract and surpassed him, because in this trade we both agree we're going to lean Daniel Jones. That's crazy. Now, I'll tell you why in this I'm going to lean Jones. Now had they not taken Sharps, I think we got a real conversation here. But I think the difference now with them taking Sharps is this. You're betting that Kenneth Walker getting the draft capital last year means more than what Sharps got this year. And it was a little better for Walker, but it's the same round, right? And it's also Pete Carroll and a GM and Snyder that's like, yeah, we're just going to keep taking it. We're going to keep taking these running backs. And I like Walker a lot, but the problem is now that Jones has a contract. Here is the totally different thing from a year ago. Daniel Jones in a lineup start 10, I'm fine at quarterback too. But here's the biggest part. I can put him in a deal and probably get to the table of anyone outside the top 5.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker gives me no chance to do that anymore.
Right.
None. That is where, for me, it's not even just leaning. I want Daniel Jones. So
all right.
That's the main reason. Now, if you tell me we move forward and you're going to start week 1 and you're going to bet one or the other, I'm with you. I'd lean Daniel Jones. But if Kenneth Walker ends up taking the reins again and Sharps doesn't do anything, are you guaranteeing me that Kenneth Walker can't be a top 5, 6 running back in next year? No. There's no way you can. There's no way you can. So I know what you're fighting, but I'm just, in my process, I'm like, man, I'll let Kenneth Walker go. I'll try to get Daniel Jones and add something to get a top 12 quarterback, solidify that, and then I'll try to see if I can go get Roshan or Devon A-Chain or some other running back that's way cheaper in value. So that's the best way I could say that one.
I think it just reaffirms my my thought that I hate these 1-for-1 deals. Let's get some leverage somewhere.
All right, man. We got a deal here, Mike. And this deal is – so this is one of our new patrons, Portland Tree. Been supposed to get this on here for a while. So Portland Tree apologized because I know you sent this to me in DMs, and he put it in the trade show. But people were like, you got to send the real trades. He was like, listen, you don't want to see the graphics, and it's on ESPN. They haven't moved it yet. So let's just talk about a couple of these, right? So he is getting a 24 first, is being traded away for McCaffrey and Cousins. And then you're looking at Javonte Williams and the 105 in the first one. See, I can't even read this, Mike. Can you read this?
Right.
I'm looking at a 24 first.
24 first, Christian McCaffery, Kirk Cousins for Javonte in the 105.
Right.
Jeez Louise. 10-team, half PPR lineup starting at, so a single quarterback league.
So let me just say this, man.
There's still no way in hell give me Christian McCaffrey.
Let me
just
let me
for
say
the Javonte and the 105. Like,
let me read from the Discord. The combined trades I sent. He sent away the 103, the 105, Javonte, and DK Metcalf. He received Lamar, Tyreek, CMC, a 24 first, which is expected to be early, and the 23 206.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we read the second one, right? He traded away Cousins, DK, and the 103. He receives Lamar and Tyreek. So, again, when we look at the both of them, sent away 103, 105, Javonte, and DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
He's receiving back Lamar, Tyreek, CMC, projected mid to early 24 first, and the 206.
Top part, just break it down, keep it easy. Absolute smash. Christian McCaffery over the 105 and Javonte. No question about it. The
Kirk
extra,
Cousins is free.
The 24 first he got back is also free.
Right.
Awesome. Cool. You go to the bottom side. Lamar over Kirk Cousins by quite a bit, even in a 1 QB league.
By
Lamar
a
would be
lot. By a
lot.
lot. Yep.
Tyreek in the 206 versus DK in the 103. So that'd be like DK and JSN or DK and Gibbs in a 1 QB.
I think I'd be willing to take the Reek side, man. Full PPR? 10 team? Close.
I think it's closer because Tyreek and like DK and JSN or DK and Gibbs is pretty intriguing as well. Like to get those two back.
I agree. I my only concern is like DK since Russ has been gone has actually not been the best scorer. Now,
right.
I still want DK. I think he's valuable, but I think Tyreek, like remember Tyreek left Mahomes and scored the most fantasy points he's ever scored.
Right.
DK lost Russ, and I don't think that scenario ever exists again. Like points per game wise, that's the big thing for me. Now, I think in value, what you could trade away, I'd take the other side. Points per game, I want the Tyreek side.
The tricky part is like how much I value more Lamar Jackson than Kirk Cousins in a 1 QB league. Like how much does that make up for it?
It makes everything. One quarterback, it makes everything, man.
That's why I don't play in 1 QB leagues, man. Get some Superflex leagues. Well, upgrade. Upgrade, boys. We got to upgrade. But the top one is just such a smash. So if you look at it in a totality, it doesn't really matter. I'm like splitting hairs on the bottom one at him. He killed it. Killed it as a whole. Easily.
But that's the thing in one quarterback, right? Like, if you think about Cousins, okay? So, like, Cousins basically put you in the quarterback one mix. Like, he's not going to lose the league for you, but he'll never win one for you.
Right.
Lamar can straight up remove two pieces in a lineup start 9 that you don't win because he's so good at quarterback. Now that he has a bag, really, really, really want that side.
And you're talking about a guy that's a threat to score 30, 40 every single week. So
let me ask you, Mike, everybody watching, would anybody be shocked if Lamar was the quarterback 1 in fantasy next year?
Nope. We've already seen it. We've already seen him break fantasy at one point. So
he just got the bag. He doesn't have to take a shit anymore mid-game. He's, not going to miss any time. Nobody would be shocked by that. In fantasy points per game. I'm not talking about how they win and where they go in the playoffs. Like, Mike, I think it's a big deal from Lamar to Cousins, personally, in one quarterback. I don't play in a lot of them. I play in some. It's only redraft, but I think that matters a ton, man, especially in the bulk of this deal.
I just had to look it up too, man. Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal year last year, right? In points per game wise, QB1. Okay. 25.6 points. Lamar's like 2.5 points ahead of him.
I was going to say, I know Lamar was like 28, so yeah, count me in on Lamar.
Yep.
Lamar can break fantasy. So anyway, Pouring Tree, appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I know that was late. I told you it would be on there a while ago. It's been busy. So appreciate you tapping in and joining the Shithead Patreon, and glad we got it on. Mike, let me ask you, man. We had 7 more deals. Trades number 2 for this week. What did you think of these deals here?
These were some good ones to talk about, especially. Really figured out I hate 1-for-1 deals.
I was gonna say Mike was really upset with a couple 1-for-1s. That the Kenneth Walker or Daniel Jones, he wouldn't even admit Daniel Jones won because he just hated the whole trade.
I hate the whole thing. I think the other thing is anytime John Metchie comes up, like I'm just prepared to take bullets.
At this point, you just lean into it. It's like a quarterback board, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? And the ESPN format, looking at trades on there, I think we finally found something that's worse than MFL as far as looking at those.
I'm not gonna lie, I never thought that existed, and I put these on there like thinking like, yeah, this just makes sense, and I read them. And I immediately went to the Discord to read our messages because I knew I needed clarity. And that should tell you everything you know about why Matthew Berry left ESPN and why you should, if you're doing anything on ESPN, leave. Dynasty, regular, redraft, doesn't matter. Was that not confusing for just reading just a trade? Like, what in the hell?
Horrible. I hate it.
I hated it too. All right.
We get spoiled with our sleeper, nice clean UI, nice easy to read trades. Like I'm almost a snob at this point too. Like when people screenshot sleeper trades from you see them too when they screenshot them from the PC from the website. I get mad at that too. Like, give me the phone. Like I'm like,
no, man, I want the mobile. Give me the mobile. Stop playing with me, or at least send me the link so I can scroll through it on my own. Like just. What I'm looking at is terrible, so we're also snobs in our own way. But if you do want your deals featured on this show, patreon.com/South Harmon, $1 a month, get you in the door, get you access to the Shithead Trades channel. Mike, what do you want to plug, man, before we get out of here? Because this is the first time ever 2 trade shows in the same week.
Double dipping, man. Just can't stress enough. Just what Adam said. Get in the Patreon, get in the Discord. Trades are coming in hot and heavy, so if you want to get on here, it's a perfect time, especially when we go to 2 shows a week, 2 trade shows a week. We got plenty of time to get those deals in, and we had to expand because we couldn't get them all in.
We couldn't get them in one day.
We can't ever rapid fire deals. We never work that well, and not every single trade is going to be a slam dunk. So the point is to dive into the intricacies of your league strategy, not just look at player names and values, but also the reasoning why. So in future, when you have the same kind of process, the same kind of tier of players, right, you go, oh, I remember talking about this one, or I remember this being broken down. That's the mindset ultimately when we do trades that we're trying to get into. I just don't want to do player X or player Y because that's what Keep Trade Cut's for, and that's why I hate that place.
Yeah, if you want to keep trade cut, you can go over to keeptradecut.com. If you want to use their algorithm, I would strongly suggest you do something else because the trade calculators just let's say exploitable is the best word that I can use for that.
Yes.
But other than that, that's all we got for you. I hope you enjoyed the second edition of this week's Dynasty Trade Show. We appreciate you tapping in. If you're not going to subscribe to the Patreon, totally understand that. Please, if you could, helps us out tremendously if you go down, hit the like, subscribe, comment even. Just tell us, Mike and Adam, you guys, you shouldn't be doing Dynasty Trade reviews. Shouldn't tell us what trades are. Whatever the case may be, do that for us. It would greatly be appreciated by us. Other than that, Mike, this is Wednesday, man. We will see you back here, same time, same place, except for on Saturday mornings for the second edition of next week's trade. We're out of this thing. Peace.
Peace.